Test. Okay. Are we live still?
Yes.
Very good. Okay. All right, it is Wednesday, June 15th, 2022 at 7:04. I now call to order a regular meeting of the Helotes Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors. All right. I saw this and I think this is probably a good idea. And I don't know, Glenn, I think you should be the one to do it. But roll call, I think, is actually probably an appropriate thing we should be doing every meeting. So I'm going to start doing that every meeting. Sure. So I'd like to go through roll call. If you'll call out everybody else and just say here are present or here, or if you're not here, then you won't answer. So Glenn, can you go through roll call?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I'll start down on the end. Jeff Felty,
Present.
Greg Hayden,
Here.
Melissa Benavidez,
Here.
John Kodosky,
Here.
Blaine Lopez,
Here.
Melody Cooper,
Here.
Joel Lutz. Absent.
All right. So we have quorum. That actually kind of makes this a little bit more official like that. Now, so you're going to have to excuse us if we're a little bit slower than what we normally are, but we're working electronically, which is good for help us to keep good record keeping on our end. So we're going to start the meeting with an open session, citizens to be heard. Do we have any citizens signed up?
No, Mr. President.
Okay, with that, I will close the citizens be heard section. And we'll go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. So just a reminder, all consent agenda items listed below are considered routine by EDC staff and are intended to be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a director requests it, which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. So with that, do I have anybody that would like to remove any of the items from the consent agenda? All right. With no items being removed, all the consent agenda items will stay on. We have consent agenda item number 3, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting dated May 18th, 2022. And we have agenda item number 4, approval of the EDC fiscal year ending 2022 revenue and expense report dated June 9th, 2022. So with that, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I motion to approve consent agenda items 3 and 4 as written.
Second.
All right, I have a motion with a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion passes. So with that, we'll now move on to, this is a newer section inside of our agenda, which we're actually going to have committee reports. So we're going to have an update from, right now the EDC has 3 distinct committees, the executive, the finance, and the governance committee that are meeting on a semi-regular basis to discuss different EDC items that we're trying to bring some type of definition or specificity to. So with that, go to the updates. Glenn, do you want to do updates since you kind of did all of them, or should we have specific members? What do you suggest?
I mean, I would like the members of the committee, but I'm happy to do it.
I like having the members of the committee too. We haven't assigned specific spokespersons for each one, but I'm sure we can figure it out as we're here. So executive committee, John, do you want to provide an update on that?
Why me?
John's like, wait, how did I go? Like I dished that right to him.
Executive committee, since our last meeting has been pretty busy, we got a couple of applications for a few grants that we have, specifically I just blanked on the name. It's not the Google 360.
E-commerce.
The e-commerce, thank you. Yes, we had a couple of those that we looked at. And we took care of some other just general housekeeping stuff. But no, the executive committee doesn't have anything necessarily new to offer, except we'll be hearing more about what those items were that we talked about in the update for the grants that you have later on, Glenn.
All right, good. And yeah, that's a good point, John, in that Glenn is also going to give us an update, almost a report, we'll call it, on all our programs and grants. And this is also going to be new. So a lot of what we're talking about on the committee side, it goes enacted into Glenn's side as far as an action item that he then reports on. So really on these committee updates, it's just more of if there's anything anything outstanding that you want to report on. So with that, Finance Committee, who wants to roll with that one?
I have minutes for the Finance Committee that
Okay.
our last meeting, we met Tuesday, May 10th, 6:30. Present was myself, John Kadowski, and Joel Lutz, and staff Glenn. And we went over the policies for the credit card and travel policies, and also reviewed the purchasing policies. That was at our last meeting. And then also, what the Finance Committee has adopted is that we are going to be reviewing expenditures for EDC on a month-to-month basis, a line item expenditure.
Awesome. Very good. Well, thank you. And if y'all don't know, Melody's our board secretary, so she's very good at keeping meeting notes and providing that information. So thank you, Melody. All right, Governance Committee. Who wants to give an update on governance?
I guess I can.
All right.
We met last week. The three of us were present along with Glenn. We came up with the governance policy, and I think that's going to be presented under item number 8
Okay.
tonight. And that's it.
Very good. All right, thank you for those quick updates. So with that, with the committee reports, it's not really something we open and close, so we'll just go ahead and move on to the items for individual consideration. So with just kind of continuing on what Jeff was saying, there's discussion and action on approving a resolution to amend the HEDC policies and procedures to include the following: meeting policy, agenda policy, governance policy, purchasing policy, credit card policy, and travel policy. And some of these policies come out of the governance and some of them came out of the finance, as Melody was talking about. So with that, I will entertain a motion on item number 8 for discussion and action.
So moved.
Okay, so we have a motion for discussion and action on item number 8. Do we have a second? Okay, so we have a second. So we're now in the discussion part. It's open for discussion. The action, this is just kind of a reminder, the action will be to actually act on it, which will be for approval, or you do not act on it, which would be, I guess, equal to disapproval. So with that, do we have anybody that would like to discuss through all the policies? Anybody?
I only have on the policies and procedures to discuss that.
Okay, you can discuss any of the items in the
Okay.
entire item.
Okay. Only thing was that I saw, I think on pages 3, 4, and 5 was the term was chair, and just recommend that we replace that with the title of president. We don't really have a position of chair.
Okay. And I think that's an easy enough change to make.
I'm sorry, and page 4, under officers, number 1, and it should be vice president, and just correct the spelling on that.
Okay.
Do we have a treasurer? Okay, okay.
That's all I have.
Okay. Anybody else have any discussion items on the policies and procedures or any just discussion?
I spent my Saturday night reading this. I didn't catch the errors that were there. But,
It was Saturday night, yes, it's probably hard to tell. It says Vice President Tur, but good catch on that, Melody.
and everything looked good to me.
Okay.
I think it's
Good.
ready to act on, really.
Yeah, I'm very pleased with the way they turned out. I think this is a lot of progress that's been made in a short period of time, considering we started from nothing to where we're at to 27 pages of policy. So it's good. We all have to have some framework that we're working within and some rules. So I think these are very well written, and I appreciate everybody's time putting this together. So with that, Jeff, you would have to amend your original motion to, if you want to, move for approval based upon Melody's edits. Am I correct on that, Glenn? We can't take it just as it is, or else it's going to stay the way it is.
We
It
can,
would be best to,
yes,
Yeah.
to approve with the corrections that Melanie presented.
Okay? Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. So motion passes. Yay, we have policy.
That felt like an achievement.
Yes,
Big-
yes, yeah, it does.
That's a
It
very
is.
big one.
That felt great.
Yeah, it's a very, very good achievement. All right, so I'm going to scroll back down to the agenda. All right, so we are now at item number 9, staff report. So we're going to have an update on current HEDC programs and grants to include but not limited to the following: tenant improvement grant, e-commerce grant, arts grant, and YOLO Texas. So Lynn, floor is yours.
Awesome. So one of the grants that was brought up during the beginning was our e-commerce grant. It's been a relatively popular incentive. We've had 12 businesses apply, or 3 are pending, I will say that. So I'll go through it. 3 businesses are applying within the next 2 weeks. We have 5 that have applied and are pending more documentation before approval. We have 3 businesses that have been approved, and one of those projects has actually been completed. And they will get funded as soon as I have paid invoices for that. Our tenant improvement grant, we've had 1 applicant that has been approved. We have 2 more companies that have expressed interest and will anticipate applying within the next 30 to 60 days. And then we have our arts grant. Initially, the deadline was May 31st. We only received 1 application from an artist with 4 different projects, so I extended the deadline till the end of June. And we've shared that both in a newsletter, it's been on Facebook with the city and Shop Helotes, and we've notified the Helotes Gallery and then the Hill Country Artist Coalition to try to get some more applicants. I do know 2 more artists plan to apply within the next week, for sure.
Awesome.
And then the other kind of ongoing program we offer is the Google 360 virtual business tours. We have completed 4 tours to date, and then we have 2 to 3 that are pending and should be completed within the next 30 days. And then we could talk about YOLO. That was a big one from our last board meeting that both this board and then city council approved as well. So they will be splitting the cost 50-50. So it was $18,800, I believe, total for the project cost. Initially, the executive board met to try to identify a pretty long list of businesses that we felt could qualify or could be featured in the program. We sat down then with the producers of YOLO Texas, which is Quarter Moon Productions, and they really took a lot of time going through the list, trying to determine what businesses, in a sense, have a broad appeal and will represent well, not only on TV, but kind of hit the mark for us on the tourism, because this show is aired all across the state. One big improvement, initially we were told we could only have 5 businesses featured, which one of those would have been Marketplace, so it would have only been 4 actual businesses. They've upped it on the schedule. We're going to feature 8 businesses for the episode. So I'm pretty astonished. I think that's a great addition. So the opening segment, I'll get to it. Now, not all these businesses have actually been contacted yet, but I guess this will be the first some of them hear about it. Texas Grounds Coffee, and then the Airbnb above them has been selected. Addie Grace Boutique, B Daddy Barbecue. The second segment is Wine 101 and Marketplace. The third segment will be El Chaparral and Busted Sandal Beer Garden. And the fourth segment is Flores Country Store to do also hopefully a feature with one of their upcoming musicians, which Flores is working on getting the needed permissions.
Awesome.
Something else that's relatively new, in speaking with Flores, they've they've been trying to look for ways to give back a little bit more. They've kind of under some new ownership, or a new partner, not complete new ownership. And they reached out to me for some assistance. They want to create a shop local, shop Old Town sign inside the venue. And it's a large sign. I mean, it's 4 foot by 10 foot.
Oh, wow.
So it's substantial. They want to put it on the inside of the fencing, so when people are coming in and out, they see it, especially when they're leaving. That's the last thing they see when leaving Flores. So I'm coordinating. They want it to only be Old Town businesses on there. So I'm coordinating, trying to assist, get all the logos, putting it together. We're going to have a QR code to Shop Helotes business directory on that as well. So one reason why I'm going to be pushing to get that project, that website redeveloped. So I think that's a really kind of a cool thing. I mean, when they have a sellout, there's at least 4,000 people.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and that's not even on their best night. So that's great to hear. Great to hear. Flores obviously is a big part of our history and a big part of our city. So glad to hear that we're collaborating with them almost to an extent. And obviously YOLO is going to be awesome if they can get something to where we have a local country artist promoting how good Helotes is. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah, and I mentioned the filming of YOLO, the segments will be July and August. Anticipation air date will either be October or possibly November.
Okay.
Right before the holidays.
Yeah,
We're trying to
yeah.
get it in October.
Yeah.
They're trying to look at, honestly, the TV schedule, the college football schedule and all that to make sure we get good airtime.
Yeah, especially if we have people coming out for market days. It is, whenever it's cooler, you'll enjoy yourself for a little bit more. So, yeah, I think it'll be great to have it during that time frame. Well, good, great update. Does anybody have any questions for staff while we got Glenn? No? All right, thank you, Glenn.
No, thank you, Glenn.
Thank you, Glenn.
All right, so that's the end of our staff report. So with that, we're actually going to go into closed session. Let me read this off just so everybody understands what closed session is. So closed session in accordance with Texas Government Code 551.072, deliberation regarding real property, and 551.071, consultation with an attorney. In addition to the matters listed below, any matter scheduled for open session may be discussed in closed sessions appropriate and authorized by law. So we're going to go into closed session for those two items that I just announced. And so with that, it is now 7:22, and I'm going to close our open session to go into closed session.
We can,
Okay, so we officially closed our closed session at 8:14, so now it is 8:15. I'm going to reopen our open session, and I believe the only item we have left on the agenda is to adjourn. So with that, I will go ahead and call for adjournment. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.